All right, let's talk about the world of business analysis because, something big is happening. The old playbook, yeah, that's pretty much being ripped up. Today, we're going to dive into how you can go from being that tactical, in the weeds expert to a true strategic leader. And trust me, this is a change that's going to define the entire future of our profession.
So let me ask you something, and I really want you to think about this. Are you just documenting change, or are you actually driving it? Seriously, the answer you give yourself right now, well, it could pretty much map out your whole career from here on out.
Okay, so to really get where we're headed, we've got to take a quick look in the rearview mirror, right? Because for a lot of people, the idea of a business analyst is, well, it's still kind of stuck in this old school tactical box. I mean, you know the stereotype, right? The BA is the person who gets dropped into a project, they gather all the requirements, document everything down to the last detail, and then poof, they're on to the next thing. Look, it's a super necessary job, but it's totally reactive. It's contained within that project's bubble.
But here's the thing, and this is the big reality check. The problems companies are trying to solve now, they aren't these small, neat little issues anymore. We're talking about massive, complex, system-wide challenges, the kind that require transforming the entire business, not just, tweaking a feature on some software. So it only makes sense, right? If the problems have gotten bigger and more complex, then the role of the person solving them has to evolve too. And that brings us to this new, exciting model, the business analyst as a strategic advisor. This is the end goal, the new North Star, becoming a strategic thought leader. It means you're not just waiting for problems to land on your desk. Nope, you're out there anticipating them. You're scanning the horizon, looking at market trends, at new tech, and you're not seeing them as threats. You're seeing them as raw material, as opportunities to build totally new ways of working.
And the difference here, it's huge. It's all in the action words. Just look at this comparison. The old way, facilitating, documenting, those are kind of passive, right? But the new way, advising, designing, that's proactive. We're talking about a massive shift from just, capturing requirements to actually creating real, tangible business outcomes. Now, this whole evolution, it's not just happening out of nowhere. It's being pushed forward by some really powerful forces out in the world. So let's break down 3 of the biggest trends that are shaping the BA role as we speak. First up, and this probably won't shock anyone, is AI and automation. But listen, the key here is to stop thinking of AI as a replacement for your job. Instead, think of it as your co-pilot, something that can seriously amplify your strategic value. Just think about it for a second. All that tedious work, like transcribing hours of interviews or sifting through mountains of customer feedback. AI can do that now. And that's incredible because that's where your job gets a massive upgrade. You're no longer the human transcriber. You get to be the human interpreter. It frees you up to focus on the 2 questions an algorithm just can't answer. Why is this happening? And, okay, so what do we do about it? All right, trend number 2. This one is a huge mental shift. We're seeing this massive move away from thinking in terms of short-term projects and starting to think about long-term products. And this changes everything for us. See, a project has a finish line. A product has a life, a journey. So with this product-centric mindset, you're not just a temporary member of the launch team. You become a true strategic partner to the product owner, in it for the long haul. You're sharing ownership of the business case, the roadmap, the whole shebang. Its success is your success. And the third trend, honestly, this one is completely non-negotiable if you want to be a strategic leader. Data literacy is no longer a nice-to-have. It is an absolutely core competency.
We're drowning in data, right? So just going with your gut feeling isn't going to cut it anymore. Your new superpower is to become a data storyteller. Your job is to dig into those numbers, find the story that's hidden in there, and then translate all that complex analytics into simple, actionable insights that your leaders can actually understand and use to make decisions.
Okay, so we've talked about what's changing and why it's changing. Now for the most important part, the how. How do you actually make this leap? What's your path to becoming a leader? So how do we get there? I like to think of it as a 4-step roadmap. First, you have to commit to being a lifelong learner. And I mean learning about the business, not just the latest BA technique. Second, you start developing those strategic skills, asking about market threats instead of just user stories. Third, you've got to specialize and go deep to become a real expert. And finally, you start practicing leadership and influence every single day, in every single meeting.
And let's zoom in on that third step for a second, specialization. This is absolutely critical. This is where real thought leadership is born. Stop trying to be a generalist. Instead, become the go-to person in a specific high-demand area. Maybe it's fintech, maybe it's healthcare IT, AI, cybersecurity, whatever it is. That deep, specialized knowledge becomes your superpower. It's your currency.
All right, let's wrap this up. The key thing I want you to take away is that all these changes we've been talking about, they aren't just things that are happening to our profession. They represent a massive opportunity for you. And if you remember just one thing from our chat today, let it be this. The future of this role is not a passive one. You can't just sit back and wait. It demands that you get curious, that you think strategically, and that you have the guts to be an active designer of what's next, not just the person who writes it all down.
So, I'm going to leave you with a final question to chew on. Now that you've seen the path forward, what's your first strategic move going to be? Are you going to sign up for a data course, start researching an industry to specialize in, or maybe just start asking bigger, more strategic questions in your meeting tomorrow? Whatever it is, the choice is yours and the future is waiting.